Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to speak about the subject of, do we live in a problem-solving society? What do I mean by that? Well, if you really think about it, just living in a society, just living in this world, we have a lot of problems, and I'm just wondering, are we people who are, as a population, as people in general, do we try to solve problems? I don't know if we really try to, because the thing is, I feel that oftentimes we're patching up the problems. We're not really problem solvers. And why do I say that? Well, the thing is that if you really think about it, there's a lot of bad stuff in this world. There's a lot of wars. There's a lot of problems just with economies. There's a lot of problems with homeless people. There's a lot of problems with sick people and stuff like that. But we don't really solve the problem. We just kind of patch it enough in order to keep us afloat and keep us living the way we are. So how do we really solve a problem? Well, the way to solve a problem would be to first of all identify what we feel is a problem and then go through all the steps in order to figure out how to solve it. And if something doesn't work, well, you're going to go and do something else. You're not just gonna accept the way that the thing is, and you're just gonna try to find another way to solve it. But the thing is we don't seem to be doing that. For example, with the whole climate change, we know what the problem is. We know it's fossil fuel. We know it's causing pollution. Yet we don't really address the problem. We talk about it a lot. We talk about the things that can be done in order to fix that, but we don't do it. Same goes with recycling. For example, we have recycle bins. We have a lot of places that say we're gonna stop using plastic and stuff like that. But why doesn't it just happen overnight? Well, the thing is that the people that bring that to the attention, the people who have power, are the people who are invested in these companies. So if you're invested in that company, well, you need to find a way in order to change it little by little, solve that problem in some way, but solve it first for yourself, because you don't want to be losing that part of the market. So if the rest of the society pays for it, well, it doesn't really matter. And that's where things get a little bit problematic, and it goes back to, again, that fossil fuel thing. There's many studies that show that basically the boats that are doing all the transportations of goods from other countries into other ones, well, they're causing way more pollution than all of the cars in every city of the world. And there's a couple hundred of these boats every day, and they make as much pollution as hundreds of millions of cars. Yet, the solution that we find is, well, let's not even talk about the boats that are creating pollution, but let's talk about the cars that are creating pollution, or the farting of the cows that are creating pollution. Okay, but if studies have shown years and years ago that the boats are the major problem, then why are we focusing on, yes, some problematic things such as cars? And honestly, I don't really think that cows are creating that much of a problem. But yeah, that's the thing, is that if we don't have import-export, well, then the society, the world where we live in, how we're accustomed to things coming from other countries, from things at a certain price and stuff like that, and coming fast, well, it wouldn't happen in the same way. And because it is actually the cheapest way to transport such big packages, or tons and tons and tons of material from other countries, they don't want to really address it, because they don't actually have a solution to implement that. Although I do think that they do have a solution, and it probably exists, but it would just cost so much money to change the way that these boats operate. But nowadays you would think that if we're really thinking about future generations and stuff like that, well, why wouldn't we want to solve that problem? Because what we just patch up, what we're just kind of fixing up, kind of like when there's a virus in the computer and then Microsoft or whatever other OS company comes along and says, hey, we're delivering this forced patch in order to fix it. Well, it's a patch. So people are able to address it or not address it. They can just ignore the update. And it kind of goes with boats too. If people really wanted to, if the people owning these boats and those transportation companies wanted to fix those boats in order to pollute less, they could do that, but they don't. And it kind of goes even with the medicine industry. It's not a problem-solving industry. It patches. It gets medication that's good enough to take away symptoms of a certain illness, but then they create other symptoms, and then on top of that, it doesn't annihilate the illness in itself or the problem. It makes it in such a way that you need to keep on taking the pills, the injections and stuff like that in order to keep up with keeping that illness away. And that's another problem, is again, it becomes an industry where it's made to be money. It's a money-making industry, and it's not a healing industry. So it proves again that in our society, we're not a problem-solving society, because we are a greedy society. We are a society that has habits, and once those habits are formed, well, you don't feel like changing them. You are used to that. Kind of like somebody who made a lot of money, and then they realize that, well, they don't want to have less even though they're already rich. They don't want to make the changes because, well, they're accustomed to this lifestyle, and they want to keep this lifestyle the way it is, even if it's going to hinder the rest of the world. And that's the problematic thing. So basically, at this moment, there's not much solution to it. It would have to be basically a global awareness that we are just human, we are living on this earth and in this universe, and that we should just help each other more and think less about material things and really care about this world and the people around us. And that would actually make us heal and make our society so much better. But that's not going to happen right now. It might happen in the future one day when people become wiser, but at the moment we're just kind of greedy. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say on the subject. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.